Alright, so in this video, I'm going to be going through the 4 potential new stadiums we could be seeing within the next 5 or 6 years in MLB. Now, the unique thing with all 4 of these stadium projects, none of them are absolutely 100% confirmed, and none of them have even broken ground. But these are 4 stadiums. All of them have renderings, or actually 3 of them have renderings. One of them, we've been waiting on the renderings. And then at the end of the video, I'm going to give a potential stadium that I think is next in line to get demolished, and a team possibly either moving or getting a new stadium in that area. But let's begin with the 4 current stadium sagas going on right now, the ones with renderings, beginning with the Kansas City Royals. Now, the Kansas City Royals, Kauffman Stadium, very old, although it did just receive a renovation about 17 years ago. They are expected to move out of the Truman Sports Complex and into their own stadium in downtown KC. There were 2 different stadium renderings that we saw. One was right in the center of Kansas City. The other was in North Kansas City. And you can see the 2 different ones. The one I'm showing right now is the one that I think they are going with. There's also a wild card 3rd rendering that's kind of come out, possibly in another location in Kansas City. But the idea is the Royals want to go to a higher densely populated area, and I would expect this to be the rendering that gets chosen. Even though I like the other one a little bit better, it is what it is. So this could potentially happen, I'm going to say right now, by 2028. Technically, they're saying it's possible by 2027 if they agreed on everything and got shovels in the ground very soon here in early 2024. But based off of the delays already to this project, I think the Royals' new stadium in downtown Kansas City will be opening for the 2028 season, and Kauffman Stadium will be demolished in the year 2028, and they'll do a complete redesign of that area next to Arrowhead Stadium. Moving on to the next potential new stadium, it is the Las Vegas A's Stadium and their entire saga, possibly opening in 2028, but we know there's been multiple delays, multiple issues. Yes, it's approved by the owners, but they're still asking for public money. We're still waiting on the new renderings that were supposed to be released over a month ago. Now they're possibly being delayed until early March. When the Athletics play a spring training game in Las Vegas, they're expected to reveal the new renderings. These are old renderings. They do not matter anymore. This design was terrible. It was kind of like a weird capsule, and the reports we're getting is that it is going to be a dome stadium in Las Vegas, again possibly opening in 2028 with a capacity around 35,000, maybe a little bit lower, but I would imagine with standing room, the capacity will be expandable to at least 37 or 38K with a massive window overlooking beyond the outfield. That is the current expectation for the Las Vegas A's. And again, we're waiting on the renderings. I'm guessing they're coming probably March at this point, based on the current rumors, but I do believe we will be going forward, and this is happening, although there is some doubt now based on the delays, based on the public money, almost $400 million they're asking in public money for this stadium in Las Vegas. This is the potential move, and by the way, guys, I'm not going to be talking about potential expansion stadiums because that is another conversation for another day. You're talking about maybe a new MLB stadium in Nashville and Salt Lake City. Right now, we're just focusing on teams in Major League Baseball, and this would be a unique move. I think the Coliseum would be demolished, obviously, if they end up leaving it. Another intriguing factor, where are the A's going to play from 2025 to 2027? There's been thoughts maybe Salt Lake City takes them on, maybe Sacramento, maybe they share Oracle Park in San Francisco with the Giants, but I would imagine their new stadium, whenever we get the new renderings, because we just don't know what it's going to look like right now, that should open by 2028, but it's not a lock either. Moving on to the next potential new stadium, it is the Tampa Bay Rays Gas Plant District. The $6 billion project is headlined by the $1.4 billion 30,000 seat indoor dome stadium. We saw this updated indoor rendering of it. It's kind of like the teepee pyramid design. I think it's a terrible design, and this whole stadium saga in St. Petersburg has made absolutely no sense. I thought there were 2 options for the Rays. Either move closer across the bridge into the Tampa area, or you're going to be leaving and moving possibly to Orlando, Florida with their translucent roof stadium design, or going to Nashville and becoming the Nashville Rays. They chose neither of those options, and they said, you know what, we're just going to do probably the worst thing possible, which is build a new stadium adjacent to Tropicana Field. And this is all happening while the Rays are drawing under 20,000 in playoff games with their entire upper deck empty. So the Rays just don't have a big enough fan base right now in St. Petersburg, but apparently they're trying to go forward with this project. It is not official. It still needs to be approved, but that indoor rendering was kind of like the updated part when they decided to announce that, no, we are going forward with this. We want to do it. It's a $6 billion ballpark district. We understand the attendance is bad now, but if we build up this massive district with all these things to do, like an entertainment center and what have you, that's what they're trying to sell. I still have major doubts about this project happening, but we will see. Of course, the Rays, they've had a crazy long stadium saga, with Tropicana Field being routinely referred to as one of the top 3 or top 4 worst stadiums in MLB. Honestly, since the mid-2000s, Tropicana Field has been one of the worst stadiums. We will see. I am watching Orlando. I think a move to Orlando would be intriguing. You would get a bigger tourist center. The diehard fans really wouldn't be there, but the Rays at this point, it's like, it's the blind leading the blind with a project like this. This team has gone to the playoffs, and the fan support's just not there. And you could say, well, they're in a bad area. Then why are they building another stadium in that area? And then they say, oh, we're gonna build a district. But it's just, you can't rely on that for the next 30 years. In my opinion, but we'll see if that ends up happening. That could potentially be opening by 2028 as well. And then moving on to the fourth potential new stadium, the renderings that were leaked to us this past week. It is the Chicago White Sox situation, possibly moving to the South Loop, the 62 acres right next to the river with the beautiful view of downtown, one of the biggest undeveloped parcels of land in Chicago, Illinois. And they've got the initial renderings. I'm guessing these are going to be expanded on. They might be changed a little bit, but you do see an open stadium and the rumored capacity anywhere from 35 to 38,000 people, with standing room. It's probably going to go to about 41 or 42K. The Chicago White Sox situation is something we're going to follow. With the lease coming up at the end of the 2029 season, we could see a situation where this stadium, their new stadium, opens in the year 2030. Maybe if the timing isn't right, they could get a lease extension of 1 or 2 years at Guaranteed Rate Field, which is where they currently play, and possibly have this new stadium open in 2031 or 2032. But right now, I would project, based on the conversations, they're saying they're very far along. They're in serious talks of possibly acquiring this plot of land to build a massive, not only stadium, but also a district. There are big questions, though, in terms of the funding. I'm sure they're going to bring out the renderings, they're going to talk about it, and then they're going to try and leverage the fact that the lease is expiring to possibly get some type of taxpayer money for this new stadium by the year 2030. So those are the main 4 stadium situations we're watching, new potential stadiums in MLB. None of them 100% are happening. Some of them are closer than others, but those are the 4 ones we're watching. And then when it comes to a wild card 5th team that I'm really intrigued by, let's take a look at the Los Angeles Angels. Now, the Los Angeles Angels, they just lost Shohei Ohtani. They've got a terrible contract with Mike Trout, who's a declining player at this point on a massive deal, and they have a horrible stadium situation with subpar ownership. This reeks of a team that possibly could be relocating by the year 2031. You know, I'm not going to predict it right now. Their stadium is old. It's gone through multiple renovations. They had the idea back in 2018, 2019 to do this big renovation. The exterior of it was going to get renovated. That never happened. I'm just saying, right now, the Angels have all the makings and all the characteristics of a team that might be rumored for relocation in the future, depending on what happens with their stadium. I don't think you can really, there's nothing you can do it to the stadium at this point. It's just so old. you're gonna have to get a new one. The way the stadium is with the fences, it's just so. I'm not even gonna explain it. It's so dumb. It's like, oh, if you hit it off the wall, it's a home run. This is the major league, folks. That's not a home run. I'm sorry, it's ridiculous. But in general, also the upper deck, it's an extremely old, outdated design. And Angel Stadium, it needs to go. They need a new stadium, or the team might be relocated, depending. But that is down the line. That is the one team I would look at possibly talking about getting a new stadium after the four that I already mentioned. So those are the potential new future stadiums of Major League Baseball. Again, I'm not talking about expansion because there's many different renderings on that. I've gone over the expansion teams already and the potential of that in early January a few weeks ago. We're just talking about the stadium situations of the Royals, the Athletics, the Rays, and the White Sox. Those are the four main ones to focus on right now. But guys, that is going to do it for this video. Make sure you follow me on X. Link to that's always in the description.